Okay, today we are going to talk about the difference between an inequality versus an equation. What did we solve last week? We solved inequalities. Today, or this week, we're going to solve equations. So, for example, I'll wait until you remove it. Okay, if I give you x plus 5 is greater than 17, how would you solve it?
Bars.
Bars, I like it. So go ahead and set up your bars before I do. Okay, I've set up my bars. Now what?
Subtract 5.
Very good. So I'm going to subtract 5 on this side and subtract 5 on this side. Notice how I'm showing work. I'm trying to be super neat. So, yes, this ends up being a 0. So I have x is greater than 12. Very good. Now what's your next step? Number line. Graph it. Very good. What goes in the center? 12. 2 numbers below. 2 numbers above. Okay. Open or close circle? Open. Very good. In which way do you shade?
Right.
Good. You know how to do these, right? This is level 1, right? One step, real simple, graph, perfect. Now I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to use an equation. Who can tell me what is the difference between an inequality and an equation? Alana? The equal sign, right? This has an inequality of a greater than symbol, and this is an equal sign, an equal to. Okay? Gee, I wonder how we're going to solve this equation. Yeah, the bars. Gee, I wonder what's going to be our next step.
Oh, that's pretty easy. Do you change the equal sign to a greater or equal to the both?
So x equals 12.
It's basically like
Symbol.
greater or equal to.
Right, so this is an inequality. It has a greater than, less than, greater than or equal to, less than or equal to symbols. One of them, right? This is called an equation, and it has a equal sign. And it will always have an equal sign for an equation. This, how do I graph this? Someone asked. So let me set it up again, and then I think I heard someone say it. Let me set it up. Same thing, right? Okay. What did someone say? Just plain 12. Open or close circle? It has the equal to part, right? So it would be a closed circle. I wouldn't go either way. I wouldn't shade. Because my answer says x is equal to 12. That's it. Here on the first problem it says x is greater than 12. That means x is any number that's bigger than 12. 12, 13, 4, not 4. 5, not 5. Sorry. I wanted to say like 4,000,000, 5,000. Those are accurate. Here it's just 12. That's it. You're done. Why? Because if I plug in the 12 back into my equation, 12 plus 5, does that equal 17?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
12 plus 5?
Yeah.
Is 17 equal to 17?
Yeah.
Yes. Right? You were saying like, oh, they're both equal sides. Yes, so we're looking for the number that makes both sides equal. That's called an equation. Is there any questions? So, is the process of solving it different? No, it's exactly the same. Except this one just has one answer, and this one has multiple. A million, more than a million answers, right? Alright, so we're going to practice solving equations today.
9x equals 27.
Alright. Sure. 9x equals 27. How would you solve it?
Bars.
Bars. I like it. Start it. Now what? Divide by 9. What's left here is a 1x. Do I write the 1 though? No, I just write. Good. What's 27
3.
divided by 9? 3. Guess what? I'm done.
That was easy.
That was it.
That was easy.
We don't have to graph them. Why don't we graph them?
Because it's equal.
It's just one number. It has to be equal to that. Why do we graph inequalities?
Because
there's multiple numbers that need to be shaded.
Yes, there's multiple numbers that need to be shaded. You need to understand that there's a lot of answers. Here, it's just one. We don't need to graph. Yes. We start off by teaching you these because there's so many steps, right? And then the last thing I taught you with these is when to switch them. That was the last step. All right, let's make this harder. Ooh. So difficult. It's called a two-step equation. 2 steps. Because it's going to take you 2 steps to solve. Okay, so what was your first step?
bars. Subtract 16.
Subtract 16, very good. What's 36 minus 16?
20.
Good. Bring down the 4x. Then my next step is to divide by 4, very good. And x equals?
5.
Good, good job.
That's easy.
Not terrible. Are we okay? Let's look at try that one. Get a head start. 35 plus 5x equals 70. Thank you for writing this down quickly so you're with us, not falling behind. It is the same thing. Same process, right? What do you start with? Pars, yes. And then what? What's it? Very good. Good job. Minus 35, minus 35. Is it important to show your work and how you borrow? 100%. What's 70 minus 35?
35.
Oh, well, there you go. What's next? Whoops. This leaves you with 1x. 35 divided by 5?
7.
Done. What does this mean? This means you plug it back in, and this side should equal 70. 5 times 7?
35.
Plus 35?
70.
Oh, done. We're good. Alright. Ready for a harder one? Yes.
Can't you just also do it by trying to figure out which number plugs in?
Yes. Alright. Sure. Don't be like that. I'll give you a hard one. Some of you can do these in your head, but why does Miss Amelie want you to show your work? Why does Miss Amelie put so much effort into this? Because are they going to get harder? Yes, and yes, that's true too. All right, let's try this one. Let me try this. I'm not sure if it's going to work. We'll try it. So, is it as easy as trying to think of a number that goes in there? No. So, what's your first step? Distributive property and the bars. Distributive property and the bars. So, get a head start on distributive property. This is how you're going to tell if you know how to do the distributive property, if you can do it before I do it. Okay, I'm going to do the distributive property. Okay, distributive property means 3 times x gives you 3x. 3 times 12 gives you 36. That's called a distributive property. Now it looks like a problem I just gave you before. Simple. Look up here when you're done, or look up here when you get stuck. Don't look up until you have an answer or until you're stuck. Alright. Don't look up until you're done or until you get stuck. That way you try to do it all on your own until you get stuck. Or we're good. Are we okay with distributive property? Yes? Have you noticed that it get progressively harder? Alright, let me see if I can give you a hard one. What are you going to do after you copy this problem down? Distributive property. Now, you can change the 1/2 into a decimal, right? What would be the decimal? 0.5. So you can multiply 0.5 times 8, 0.5 times 12, but there's an easier way. Yes. Here's the easier way. What is half of 8x? 4x. Plus, what is half of 12? 6. Okay, hold on. Let me pause the video. Hold on. Alright. So, sorry. What is 1/2 of 12? 6 is equal to 40. So, this problem, some of you already solved it all the way, which is fantastic. You guys went ahead of me. Fine by me. So, what happens is they'll throw in a fraction like 1/2, and then kids will